So hi, hello, very good evening. Once again, welcome back to the session, everyone. This is your mentor Kabilan. Today's session it's gonna be for TANCET comprehension, reading comprehension lesson 2. So those who have seen the reading comprehension lesson 1 yesterday, definitely you'll be having an idea how to approach the given passage and how to break down the various questions based on the given passage and how to answer it. Okay, as I told you, you have 5 important points to keep in mind before going to attend the reading comprehension part. So if you have not seen those stuff after watching this session, kindly go for my previous video, that is the yesterday video, that is reading and comprehension part 1. Okay, so யார் யாரெல்லாம் பார்க்கலையோ இந்த வீடியோ முடிஞ்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் கண்டிப்பாக போய் பார்க்கவும். Definitely you'll be getting I hope now. Okay. Yes. So before getting into this reading comprehension lesson 2, let me quickly introduce about myself. So my name is Kabilan, and I'm a mechanical engineer with 3 years of teaching experience in the field of management exams. I've also converted various Indian Institute of Management. So if you personally like my videos and stuff, kindly don't forget to follow me on Unacademy Learning App with my user ID Kabilan School, and also please don't yaar TANCET MBA channel, Telegram channel join பண்ணி kindly go and join on Telegram channel. Definitely it will be useful for your preparation, where you will be getting all the lively updates and the materials and stuff. Okay. So with that, don't forget to join us on social media platforms, that is in our YouTube channel, Unacademy CAT for MBA, and also our Telegram channel. So talking about the subscription part, Unacademy plus subscription for CAT. Only last few days or left to subscribe today, So where you can avail my discount code of KAPI10 to get absolute 10% off, so that the final price will be 15,750 for 1 year, and for 2 years it's going to be 18,900. So definitely it will be beneficial from your side, and only a few days are left to enjoy this 10% discount. And also talking about the Unacademy Combat Challenge, where every week you'll be having a scholarship test. You can take it absolutely for free just by registering now using my unlock code of KABI10. You can use it, register now, where you'll be getting the next combat challenge on the 21st of Feb, time exactly at 12 p.m. And you can take it live and compete with the rest of the other students in the nation. And also you will be provided with all India live leaderboard, so you can exactly you know um, see where you stand out of the mass. And also you can identify and improve your weak areas just by doing this challenge. And your weak areas will be cleared through a detailed video solutions provided by our experts, and the questions will also be curated by the top experts in an academy. Okay, so definitely it will be very helpful for you. And also here we have the testimonials for CAT 2020 who got absolute 99 percentiles and above with flying colors. And here we have it. If you want to be one for the next year, you can quickly enroll in our batches, which are all kickstarting right from the 13th of Feb, 16th, and 15th and 16th of Feb respectively. Okay, so that's it, the promotion part, and we'll quickly step on to the very first set of today's session. So this is for the comprehension 1. Here we have passage, where you have 5 questions following it, and you need to read the passage carefully, and we need to answer the 5 questions based on the given passage. Okay, so I hope the font size is sort of visible for you. So come on, guys. This is the very first passage. So the world's largest living organism is not the blue whale, which still is the world's largest living animal. But Australia's Great Barrier Reef, one of the country's prime living animals and prime tourist attraction, sadly, size notwithstanding, it is slowly succumbing to the white syndrome, a bleaching disease which has invaded 33 of its 48 reefs. And otherwise brilliantly multicolored and teeming with kaleidoscope of life. Affected reefs have acquired a deathly white pallor, the result of dying tissues. The bleaching of the reef happened following the record of the warmest sea ever seawater temperature in the area here. And scientists fear that the naturally gorgeous reef are endangered and the yet undiscovered animal and plant species will soon suffer irreplaceable damage. This is only because of the rising of water temperature. So they have summarized about the effects of water temperature increase, and sort of a very short passage, a very short passage. So they are talking about the Australia's Great Barrier Reef, under which you have prime living animals and the concept of white syndrome. They suffer a bleaching disease which has invaded 33 of its 45 reefs and etc. Right? So this is one very short passage given for you. And if you're super clear with this, let's quickly go for the very first question of today's session. Come on. So the very first question, which of the following statement is not true? We need to find the option which is not true here. So undoubtedly, if you go for the very first option, rising water temperature is the cause. Somewhere down the line in the passage, we could see that this is only because of the rising of water temperature. Okay. So here they have said rising water temperature is the cause. So definitely it's been mentioned in the passage. They're asking you which statement is not true. If that is the case, then definitely I'll be ruling out the first one. And the second one, if you see, the blue whale is dying of white syndrome. Okay. Whether they mentioned the blue whale is dying of white syndrome, this statement is under trouble. So let's keep that for a while into consideration. And let's quickly go for the third one, whether it is being stated true or not. Third one, if you see, the white syndrome is a new bleaching disease. Absolutely, it is being mentioned in the passage. So I can confidently rule out the third option, stating it to be true. And the fourth option, if you see, the Great Barrier Reef is the world's largest living organism. This is also to be considered not to be true, to be true. So the only most accurate option, which I can 100% say the statement is not true here, it should be option 2. Why? Because I know the fact that when it comes to the white syndrome is being slowly succumbing to the white syndrome, that is the bleaching disease which invaded the so they are talking about the Australia's Great Barrier Reef. They are not talking about the blue whale when it comes to the white syndrome. Okay, so the most appropriate option for the very first question, it's gonna be option 2, right? Option 2, that is the blue whale is dying out of syndrome. It is not the blue whale, it is the Great Barrier Reef. Okay, that's it. Go for the second. 33 out of Australia's 48 reefs have succumbed to what? Have succumbed to so here it is nowhere a doubt that it has succumbed to the destructive impact of white syndrome. Undoubtedly, it is option B. Option 3, destructive impact of white syndrome. Okay. And then next one, very good, Meghna. It is the dying reefs acquired the dying reefs. So what they are talking about, the dying reefs here. The affected reefs have acquired a deadly white pallor, the result of dying tissue. So it's gonna be sickly white pallor. When it comes to dying reefs, it is acquired a sickly white pallor, option 4 for this one. And what for this one? Scientists' main worry is that, what is the main worry of the scientists here? The main worry of the scientist is actually other endangered and undiscovered flora and fauna will also be damaged. That is the main worry of the scientists. Why? Because if the seawater temperature is increasing, there is millions and millions of flora and fauna which has been undiscovered. So which has been undiscovered means there is a chance of all those flora and fauna. Flora and fauna means flora is all about the plant organism, plant, and fauna is all about the animals. So they will be damaged. That's his main concern. Okay, yeah. And the meaning of the term succumbing. So if you try to relate it, here it has been mentioned succumbing. It is slowly succumbing to the white syndrome. Yeah, if you want to relate it to the context, it is slowly succumbing. Succumbing is something giving way to something powerful. Okay, succumbing is nothing but giving way to something powerful. Option 2. This is actually the meaning of succumbing. Okay, so the meaning of succumb as used in the context of this passage, if you see, to give way or to get replaced by something more powerful. okay, to get replaced by something which is more powerful. That is actually the meaning of the term succumbing. Okay, so come on guys, with this we'll go for the second set. Quickly try to read out this. Excuse me. Come on, a sort of a lengthy passage. This is how we can expect in your exams as well. கண்டிப்பா ஒரு 2 ல இருந்து 3 paragraph குறைஞ்சது இருக்கும், and maximum we can expect 5 or 7 paragraphs put together in a passage. Okay, so this is how the exact length of the passage will also be. So you need to go for a fast read. Okay, come on. Yes. So in the this passage is all about the earliest Vedic literature that are found not only hymns in praise of the accepted gods, but also doubts in regards to the worth of these gods. Right? And the beginnings of a new religion incorporated to our earliest records of the old, and later, when Megasthenes was in India, the descendants of those first theosophists were still discussing the questions that lay at the root of all religions. And in many things, they held the same opinions with the Greeks, saying that the universe was begotten and will be destroyed, and the world is a sphere, that there are different beginnings of all things, but water is the beginning of world making. Right? And next, India's literature was preeminently priestly and religious. Religious forms with either subject matter of the most important works, or as in the case of the epics, the basis of dictation, dictating excursions, and sectarian interpolations, which impart to worldly themes a tone peculiarly theological. History and oratory are unknown in Indian literature, and the early poetry consists of hymns and religious poems. The early prose of liturgies, linguistics, law, theology, sacred legends, and other works, all of his philosophy, fables, and commentaries are added to the prose. Epics, secular lyric drama, Puranas, and such writings to the poetry. But in all this great mass, no real literature that was religious originally, or at least so apt for priestly use as to become chiefly moral and theosophical, while the most popular works of modern times are sectarian tracts, Puranas, Tantras, and remodeled worldly poetry. And the source from which knowledge of Hindu religions is to be drawn, or the best possible the original text. The information furnished by foreigners from the times of Theseus and Megasthenes to that of Mandelslow is considerable, but one is warranted in assuming that little in its novel is inaccurate, since otherwise the information would have been furnished by the Hindu themselves. And that is conversely an outsider statement, often may given an inexact impression through the lack of completeness. Take an example, Theseus tells half the truth in regard to ordeals. His account is true, but he gives no notion of the number of or elaborate character of these interesting ceremonies. And the sources to which we shall refer will be the most important collections of Vedic hymns, the Rig Veda and the Atharva Veda, the Brahmanic literature with the supplementary Upanishads, and the Sutras or mnemonic abridgments of religious and ceremonial rules, and the legal text, and the religious and theological portions of the epic, the later sectarian writings called the Puranas. The great heresies again have their own special writings. Thus far, we shall draw on the native literature only for some of the wild modern sects, and for the religions of the wild tribes which have no literature shall we have to depend on the accounts of European writers. So they are talking about some the exact portrait of the gods, their ideals, their ordeals, their epics, their poems, their Vedas, their lyric dramas. Everything is being touched here, and they're talking about Megasthenes' time. They're talking about the didactic excursions. They're talking about the Theseus who tell half the truth and half they are very uncertain about. They are talking about the evolution of the Vedic times, the Puranas, the Brahmanic literature, everything they're talking. Okay, they're talking about all the abridgments of the religions and the ceremonial rules that have been erupted, and the theological portions of the epic, all things they are addressing here. So we need to completely go through it, and I hope you guys would have gone through this. So with that, let's go for the questions part if you're ready. Yes. So come on, let's go for the question, guys. So what's going to be the right option for the very first one? So they're asking here, the author would recommend which of the following for the authentic knowledge of Hindu religion? Come on. So what is the exact thing the author has been addressing here, and what the author would exactly recommend for the authentic knowledge of Hindu religion if you want it? What's going to be the right option for this? So to see this, very first one, the first option that has been illustrated here, the accounts of foreigners like Megasthenes. Megasthenes' account was not actually that precise. Okay, so I'll just rule out this. And the accounts of the great scholars, not the Greek scholars. The Greek scholars, they were also not that precise and authentic when it comes to the knowledge of Hindu religion. Third one, the original religious texts of the Hindus. So this would most probably give you, the author he has recommended the original religious text of the Hindus to get the authentic knowledge of Hindu religion. Okay, and the fourth one, that is the later books and commentaries on Hinduism, definitely not. So the most flexible and appropriate answer for the very first question, it's going to be option 3. The original religious text of the Hindus. Okay, so next one will go. What for this one, guys? Come on. So, what contradictory feature of early Vedic literature is mentioned by the author in the given passage? So, if you see this, Vedic literature was preeminently priestly and religious. Okay, they are the best source of Hindu religion. And the third one, They assimilated writings of foreigners also. And fourth, they contain both hymns in praise of gods and doubts in regard to the worth of words. So the contradictory feature of the early Vedic literature, as being mentioned by the author here, it's going to be undoubtedly option 4. That is, they contained both hymns and prayers in praise of gods and doubts in regards to the worth of gods. This is actually the contradictory part which you can able to see. The very line itself, they praised gods with hymns, but they had doubts also in regard to the worth of gods, whether the god is actually worth it. So they had doubts also. This part is actually the contradiction which you can which is actually featured in the early Vedic literature. Okay, all fine. Next one. What does didactic excursion, as mentioned in the passage, mean? Didactic excursion is being mentioned here. That is in the bold letters. So it follows like what? Religious forms either the subject matter of the most important works, or as in the case of the epics, the basis of didactic excursions and sectarian interpolations. Okay. So, in reference to the contextual placement of this given term, what would be the most relevant option out of the four? So what does didactic excursion, as mentioned in the passage, means? Intended to teach moral lessons, okay, used as guides in religious trips, intended to delay religious examinations, and intended to aid understanding of the otherworldly. So didactic excursions means it is undoubtedly intended to teach moral lessons. Okay. In the second paragraph, if you see, the author says that the religious forms the basis of didactic excursions. If you see the term didactic, if you see the term didactic, this means nothing but intending to teach. Didactic is nothing but intending to teach. Okay, so intending to teach, and particularly in having moral instructions. Okay, didactic means intending to teach, particularly in moral instructions. So, in the context of the passage, it means that the religion carries the purpose of teaching morals, right? So, thus, option 1 would be the most appropriate answer for the very first for the question that has been asked, and other options are completely out of the context of the passage. If you see this, three options, they are completely out of the context. Okay, so definitely the most flexible answer it would be option 1. And go for the next one, guys. The literature in India was what actually? So the author, in reference to the author's context, they're asking the literature in India was whether it is mostly classical drama, mostly religious, mostly dialectic, or mostly superstitious. So if you go to the second paragraph and try to see this, let me just show you here. Here the author pinpoints the India's literature was preeminently priestly and religious. Religious forms either the subject matter of the most important work. So definitely, if you want to go for the right option out of the given four, it would be option 2. So mostly religious. Option 2 for this one. That is, India's literature was preeminently priestly, and there is no real literature that was not religious originally. So hence the correct option is option 2. And India's literature was preeminently priestly and religious. So definitely most religious will be the flexible one. And what for this question, guys? Which of the following is true in relation to the European writings about India? Come on. So the first option which you have, they are not accurate about religious and ceremonial rules. They can be used for religions and sects who have no literature. And they are only useful for interpretations of text. They are the modern versions of epics and mythologies. What would be the most flexible one? So if you refer to the last part of the second paragraph, come on, let me take you to there. If you refer to the last part of the second paragraph, here it starts with only for some of the modern sects, right? That is only for some of wild modern sects and for the religious wild tribes which have no literature shall we have to depend on the accounts of European writers. So just by looking at this last part of the passage, we can come to a conclusion that to be they can be used for religions and sects who have no literature. So this is all about the Europeans infer based on the writings about India. Okay. So option 2, that is they can be used for religions and sects who have no literature. Okay. All good. Come on, guys. This is the next passage for you. Try to go for this and get me the right. Try to first decode the passage. Yeah. So here they are talking about the environmental pollution. So let me quickly go for a read. Yeah, one single read. So environmental pollution is one of the serious problems faced by the people in the country, and especially in the urban areas, which not only experiences the rapid growth of population due to high fertility, low mortality, and increase in rural urban migration, but also industrialization, which is accompanied by the growing number of vehicles. In India, the rapid increase of human numbers combines with desperate poverty to deplete and pollute local resource bases on which the livelihood of present and future generations depends. Though the relationship is complex, population size and growth tend to expand and accelerate these human impacts on the environment. So, according to the World Development Indicators report in 1997, 1.5 billion people live exposed to dangerous levels of air pollution, and 1 billion live without clean water, and 2 billion live without sanitation. Okay. The increase of population has been tending towards alarming situation. The world's population was estimated to be 6.14 billion in mid 2001 and projected 7.82 billion and 9.04 billion in the year 2025 and 2050. Contribution of India alone to this population was estimated to be 1033 millions in mid 2001, which has been projected 1363 million and 1628 millions in 2025 and 50 respectively. And 2001 world population data sheet. This is based on the 2001 base population data sheet. According to the provisional results of the census of India, 2001, the population of India was on the 1st March 2001 is 1027 millions. And if the world population continues to multiply, the impact on environment could be devastating. And the population impacts the environment primarily through the use of natural resources and production of waste, and is associated with environmental stresses like biodiversity, air and water pollution, increased pressure on arable land. India is the world's sixth largest and second fastest growing producer of greenhouse gases. Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai are three of the world's 10 most populated cities, and two-thirds of the city's dwellers lack sewerage, one-third lack potable water. India grows equivalent of another New York City every year in its urban population. By the year 2000, more than 350 million Indians will live in cities. In the next 15 years, more than half of Indians will be urban dwellers, and one-third will be slum dwellers and squatters. So India is one of the most environmentally degraded countries in the world, and it's paying heavy health and economic price for it. According to a World Bank sponsored study, estimated environmental damage in the year 1992 amounted to about 10 billion US dollars per rupees 34,000 crores, which is 4.5% of GDP. And urban air pollution cost India 1.3 billion a year US dollars. And water degradation leads to health costs amounting to 5.7 million US dollars every year, nearly 60% of the total environmental cost. Soil erosion affects 83 to 163 million hectares of land every year, and besides, land degradation leads to productivity loss of equal to 4.4 billion US dollars to or 4 to 6.3% of the agricultural productivity every year. So this is based on the United Nations Development Program 1998. So this passage is completely about the causes and effects of the environmental pollution and in terms related with the GDP is concerned. Okay. So this is, after reading out this passage, it is very alarming for we the people of India to keep an eye on the various pollutions that we make. Definitely we need to lesser the usage of transportation, the usage of unwanted pollution causing agents. Okay, so definitely it would be more useful for you to have awareness of this passage. And let's quickly go for the very first question. That is, what expands and accelerates the human impacts on the environment? Come on, what would be the right option for the very first one? They're asking what expands and accelerates the human impacts on the environment. So whether it is population size, population growth, population size and growth, and population distribution. Come on. So what is that which is most alarming actually? The author who has spent this article, is being very concerned with the size of the population and also its size. How we can exactly come to that? Because he has been predicted, is being projected this, initially it was 2033 million in mid 2001, but it is being projected to 1363 million and 1628 million in the respective years of 2025 and 2050. Okay, so the author has been mainly concerned with the size of the population and also its growth as well. So undoubtedly, the right option for the very first one, it's going to be option 3. That is, the author is being mainly concerned with the population size and its projected growth as well. Okay, so that the human impacts on the environment. All good? Yes. We go for the next one then. Come on. What is the projected world population in the year 2025? Kindly infer the passage here. Come on. So, the projected world population in the year 2025, as I already highlighted here, in 2025 it was projected to be 1,363 million. Yeah. Which means here, yeah, this 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the options. Kindly rule out this. So they're asking the projected world population in the year 2025. So it's going to be 7.82 in 2025 and 9.04 billion in 2050, right? The world's population was estimated to be. So the right option for this one is going to be 7.82, option 1. Option 1, 7.82 billion, the projected world population in the year 2025. Yeah. And then next one, choose the correct meaning of the word desperate that has been highlighted in the paragraph in context to the old from the given options. So we have 4 options here: cravings, wanting, hopeful, hopeless. So desperate, let's quickly go for the passage and see. In India, the rapid increase of human numbers combines with desperate poverty. Okay. So, in context to the old passage here, the term desperate, it has a closer meaning with so absolutely it's going to be option 4, hopeless. Right? So the word desperate carries 2 meanings actually. So first meaning, first of all, if I take the word desperate, if I want to give the 2 meanings of the word desperate, the first one would be showing or feeling a hopeless sense. Right? That is showing or feeling a hopeless sense. This actually sums up to desperate, hopeless sense. And the second meaning, since that a situation is bad or it is difficult to deal with. For example, if I say, it has been well said that desperate times needs desperate measures. Right? That means showing or feeling a hopeless sense that a situation is so bad and it's difficult to deal with. Okay. And second one, importantly, having a great need. So you have two meanings actually. Having a great need or desire. Okay, so first one, it is showing or feeling hopeless sense to the very bad or critical situation that you cannot face. This is one desperate. If I want to give you an example, I would say, it has been well said that desperate times need desperate measures. That is, difficult time means difficult, hopeless time means hopeless measures. And in this way, second meaning, it is having a great need or desire for something. Example, if I say I am desperate to have a stable career, which means I'm in a craving or I'm in a want to have a stable career. So all the four options it gives you except hopeful. Craving is also gives you a meaning which is relevant to desperate. Wanting also gives you a meaning relevant to desperate. But in context to the given passage, the word, the option which is more relatable to the given sentence, term desperate, it is hopeless. Okay. So I would say if we consider the first meaning also, it is fine pakka. So option 4 is the correct answer as it reflects the discouraging situation of a poverty. They said desperate poverty, right? So discouraging situation of the poverty in India, they mentioned here. So undoubtedly, it's going to be option 4. Yeah. Quickly, we'll go for the next one. And how does population primarily impact the environment? So, in reference to the context of the given passage, the population primarily impacts environment by the use of natural resources and production of waste. Yeah. So the more the population, the more the usage of the natural resources, and the more the production of waste, environmental or water pollutions, right? And the next, choose the correct meaning of the word squatters as highlighted in the paragraph in context to the old form from the given options. So squatters, if you see, they have been highlighted here. Yeah. So that is 1/3 will be slum dwellers and squatters. Squatters, if you see, in reference to the context of the given passage, you have aliens, settler, migrant, and illegal resident. So squatter, it is nothing but slums and illegal residents. So they are talking about the illegal residents here. Okay, all good. Next one. What percentage of GDP was affected due to environmental damage in India during 1992? So there's options here. So we have 4.5, 4.75. So absolutely it is 4.5. So 4.5% of the GDP was affected due to environmental damage in India alone. Okay. Next one. Choose the correct opposite of the word degradation as highlighted. So degradation means which is coming, which is decreasing in standard. So the most opposite term will be improvement. Okay. Be improvement. Fine. Okay. Why are the effects of environmental pollution magnified in urban areas? So if you see this, undoubtedly it's going to be the fourth option, that is effects of environmental pollution or magnified in urban areas due to burgeoning population and also industrialization, which deplete and pollute local resources at faster pace. So undoubtedly it's going to be option 4 for this one. And choose the correct opposite word sanitation. For sanitation, the opposite word for sanitation, if you see, you have squalor, cleanliness, pure, sterile. So all three in accordance with sanitation. The only word which is opposite, I would say it's going to be squalor. Squalor, it is nothing but, if you want to know the exact meaning of it, state of being extremely dirty. The state of being extremely dirty, we address the term squalor. Okay, fine. And by which year will more than half of India's population be urban dwellers? It's gonna be 2015. In 2015, more than half of India's population will be urban dwellers. It's been estimated, right? So that's it, guys. We have come to the conclusion of today's session. Hopefully, we'll try to do a lot more interesting videos based on business analysis and comprehension part as well. And if you really like my session, kindly use my discount code KABI10 to get up to 10% off. With that, signing